What's going on, you guys? This is Chadwick Frazier, aka Reason, executive producer here at Metro Conservative Media's Pop and Politics. It has been an outstanding year, and us here at Pop and Politics want to say thank you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for sticking with us, and thank you for just getting to know us through your emails, the comment section, and your messages. 2023 has been a ridiculously outstanding year, and we're looking forward to what we're going to come up with for you guys in 2024. So, that being said, we're going to take a look at some of the awesome times and a few of the great clips that some of the ladies have come out with this year. Thank you for hanging out with us. Let's check it out. For our first clip, you guys, believe it or not, we had Scott Adams saying this.
And I would say, based on the current way things are going, the best advice I would give to white people is to get the hell away from black people. Just get the fuck away.
All right. So, lot to unpack. First off, is there anyone, you know what? I want to start off with you, Shelly. Did you find the video and what he said offensive?
No, I did not find it offensive. I found some of it factual. Let me say what part I found factual. He said that he sees black people beating up on non-white people. Well, hell, where I live and where a lot of other black people I know live, it's black on blacks. They're beating each other to death, literally. Okay, so I'm correcting him there. I know he was trying to be, a little satire, a little irony here, but some of what he said is about self-preservation. Number two, some of the Patrice Cullors and the Candace Owens and some of these other Jack and Jill type black people, they don't live with black people either. They get rich and they buy homes in white areas like the Donna Lemons do. So they do it too. So he's talking facts. Now, there are a lot of people who's going to say he was racist. Of course, they're going to throw that out there. Maybe he is. I don't know. But I do know he's been a leftist most of his life. So he's been helping. He's even helped with black BLM before causes and things like that. So no, I think some of it was very factual. I just think it applies a little bit more in the black community.
All right. I want to jump around. I want to go to you, Kendra. What did you think about what Dilbert creator said? Did you find it offensive? And if so, why? Scott Adams.
I don't know if I necessarily found it offensive. I just think that if they leaving, where they going? That was my first question. Get far away from them. And what about the people who got biracial children? Where they going? You just gonna up and leave half your kids? So I just had so many questions. Now, as far as the litter part, that part, we got to give him a point there because people just don't like picking up trash, but that's a litter and recycling issue. That's not necessarily a color issue.
Well, he's saying that if you saw, as Don Lemon said, he felt like in black areas, black people in general throw trash on the floor, on the ground.
Right. And I understand that. That's right. And I get that. But like I said, it's like, okay, that's laziness. We can call a thing and say, it's lazy to throw trash on the ground when there's a trash can right there, but that's lazy across the board.
Oh, you're saying, so you disagree. You believe that it's not just in black communities, white people.
No, I live around white people, and do you know how many I had to pick up? My dog is only 15 pounds. Now, why did I have to pick up the white people, big pit bull poop today? Because they didn't pick it up, and I didn't want to step in it. So, I mean, I'm just saying that people are just lazy at times, and it's not just the black laziness thing. White people don't pick up their dog poop when they poop in the yard. So I just think, you know what? They got trash in bottles. White people got poop in the yard. People are just going to be lazy when they want to be lazy. But I think that he feels how he feels. If you don't want to be around black people probably don't want to be around him either. I think it's a mutual, we good, we cool.
I want to go to you, Shonda. Did you find what he said to be all right? It was okay with you?
Yeah.
It was okay with me. I mean, honestly, living in and so what when I hear this, what automatically comes to mind for me is not just black people, it's black people in urban areas where they don't own anything. And in my experience and in my opinion, they do. I mean, you could be driving down the street in Baltimore City and see people throwing chicken out the window and putting their cups outside their door in the grocery store parking lot and all kinds of foolishness. And it's simply because they don't have any stake. They don't have any a house in the area. They're renting, they're on government assistance and public housing, and so they could care less because they're not worried about property values and things like that. So yes, I agree with that. I also feel like if what he's saying is, I've been supporting black people my whole life and they're still saying it's not okay to be white. If you've been supporting somebody and they still don't want to accept you, would you still support them? Like, I mean, that's just to me, that's a human trait, not a black thing, a white thing. It's just common sense. If somebody don't support me, I'm not supporting them. Why do I have to keep going out of my way to support them, right? That doesn't make any sense. And then for him to say they need to run, well, guess what? Black people run from their own people all the time. When things get bad in the city, guess what? They pick up and move out to the county. They go out to other neighborhoods and areas where their people are not there because they think the same thing. The problem is they don't like white people to say it. If a black person say it, then it's all good. Or you moving on up to the east side like the Jeffersons, right? But if a white person say it, then they so wrong. No, we can call a spade a spade. And the fact is, a lot of black people in urban communities trash their own communities. A fact is, a lot of black people are the most racist people as I don't know what. They think that they can say whatever they want about white people, but white people can't say whatever they want about them. And if that's how he feels, furthermore, I want to know. Please tell me that's how you feel. Don't hide it and talk to your friends about it. Now we know it's all out in the open. Everybody has a right to their own opinion, and he definitely has a right to his.
Okay. All right. Yana, what are your thoughts here? Was what he said racist or offensive to you?
Oh, what he said, I mean, I have to relate to. Like, unfortunately, um, I understand what he's saying. And I agree with the other ladies here. And I mean, from my experience too, everyone suffers in those types of neighborhoods where it's not safe. It's not just the white people, obviously. Everyone who lives in unfortunately predominantly black areas suffer, because I lived most of my adult life in urban, predominantly black or Hispanic neighborhoods. And I had my windows smashed multiple times in my car. I had my wheels taken off like my car completely. I had a catalytic converter cut off out of my car. I was almost mugged. I had to fight against the people. I was kicked. I was assaulted, and had the guy arrested. So, and it was happening to my neighbors too, who were black women, black single women that lived in my building. Their vehicles were vandalized as well. So, unfortunately, I think decent people should try to move away. So it's not just white people, of course. It's just decent people should not live amongst people that would hurt them. So that's common sense. And also, I agree that people should not be trying to help someone just based on their race. So this whole thing, oh, let's help, this race or that race. I mean, it seems you should help people, not just black people, not just Hispanics, not just Chinese. Just help people if you want to help people. But yeah, when it's I can definitely understand the frustration that people are experiencing after years of being in this type of environment and not being treated with respect in those areas. So yeah, I understand.
Yeah, I mean, I might be the odd man out. I was offended. Now, I wasn't offended by what I think a lot of people were. I was offended by something you said, Yana, what he said about, I don't need to help back. He's helping black people. He's not going to help black people anymore. And I find this a lot, especially with the left or liberal white people. They feel like it's almost like this idea that black people are their pets and need to be helped. And so, when he kept saying, "I don't need to," I'm not going to help them anymore. I'm not going to help black people. I mean, as if that was the only kind of relationship or connection he can have with a black person or the black community.
Yeah.
I don't need help.
Well,
I'm black.
and what he's doing, he's actually general. So in that case, it can be considered racist because he is generalizing. So just because he has this bad experience with black people, I will just, if I see a black person, I'm not going to help. If I'm hearing about this black family that is struggling, there's no way I'm helping because they're black. I mean,
Right.
that can come off that way.
Well, I would say this. Why does he say that? Or why does he think or feel that way? And I think this is a two-sided coin. Number one, there are a lot of people who have what we call, Sidney Sheldon, I think it is, calls white guilt, right? They have this idea that, yeah, black people need help. But on the other side of the coin, there are many black people who portray that they need help, that they want white people. And if white people don't do it, then they're racist. If they do it, then they're racist or whatever. It's like it's a never-ending cycle. So we have this mentality among a lot of black people that we always need help. And the white man owes us this, and the white man did this, so they need to do this for us. So this like a double-edged coin, a two-sided coin, and it doesn't sit out pretty, doesn't end pretty. How about this? Get up off of your asses. Excuse me, I'm supposed to stop cursing. I'm sorry. Get up off your butts and do something for yourself. Stop making white people your God, for good or bad, okay? If somebody helps you, you need help. Of course, we all might need help at some time in our life. But to rely on it as a way of life and then make people feel guilty about it, that's called ingratitude, number one. And number two, it's called laziness if you don't do something for yourself in your own family.
Yeah. Well, his comments set off a firestorm amongst the left and amongst media. I mean, they pulled his Dilbert comics out of a lot of newspapers, and many headlines were saying, pretty much cancel this guy. But one thing I haven't seen talked about is, I think the issue we have right now with this type of talk. I'll be honest, as a black person, many black people talk about this way, and I think white people, everyone, you have certain people who say off-color comments amongst people that look like them or their family. They say these off-color comments. What we have right now, though, it seems like people are bringing these off-color comments out into the public. So you used to have, back in the day, it's common for you have some people who say inappropriate, you can see racist comments amongst themselves, like in the privacy of their home. But now we have people who, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it has always been. But now people are starting to bring these comments out into the open, and this is where we're seeing the clash. Anybody what are your thoughts on that?
KJ, I think that 100%, like if we're all honest, we have all been in the room with our grandparents and done heard them say something that we ain't gonna repeat because it would not shine the best light on them. And if we're honest, every family have those dinner table conversations or whatever where they express themselves that probably in a way that would be seen and viewed as racist or inappropriate per se. The issue is now we done went from it being a moment amongst trusted people, because you're not going to say it around people that you don't trust, right? Now we just going to get on Joe Biden's hyperinflated internet and just say how we feel, and then it's not a safe space. Like, I'm going to just tell y'all this is what it is. Baby, no, you're supposed to do that with people that not going to, you won't want to have a job tomorrow because you done pissed the people off because they didn't agree with you. Now they done called down to your job. Now you ain't got no job because the people because of what you said. Like, if you're gonna talk trash, talk your shit, okay? Like, talk, say how you feel, but say it around people that's gonna make sure you gainfully employed the next day. That's all I'm saying. That's just stay employed, because people are gonna do it. If we all say stuff that it ain't gonna put us in the nicest light. We all have those conversations. We just probably shouldn't put them on the internet. If you want to stay employed.
I'm sorry. The challenge is that you can say stuff in private now and it still end up on the internet. You know, there's no such thing anymore as really privacy, because you could say that amongst your family and friends and they record you, and the next thing you know, you're being blackballed because somebody then picked up you saying something that you didn't even know that they had, you know. So I mean, the reality is that there's very little privacy nowadays, and most of the things that you say in the dark are probably going to somehow shine in the light, right? And, you know, and if I'm really honest, I feel like a lot of times when it comes to those kind of comments, it is acceptable for Black people to say those things in public. It's just not acceptable for white people to say them. And I mean, a white person cuts you off in traffic, automatically she's a white bee. Right? If you know the older white lady that ran into you in the grocery store, it's okay for a Black person to express their beliefs and call someone a name that is not necessarily appropriate. But when a white person does it, now they're racist. The challenge is, I don't think that many Black people feel like they can be racist.
So that was special guest hosts Shonda Patterson and Kendra Patterson, who we actually have on our show every now and then, and I'm looking forward to seeing Kendra on our show again next year in 2024. From that, we go to Jane Fonda talking about killing Christians.
Now it becomes normal to joke about killing Christians.
That's Jane speaking, and she probably will get a Nobel Prize.
But it's the truth.
Very soon.
It is the truth. We're not going to do it.
Besides marching and protesting, what else do you suggest?
Well,
it doesn't happen overnight. It's not a miraculous. What did you say?
Murder.
She's kidding. Wait a second. She's just kidding. Don't say that. That's you don't know. They'll pick up on that and just run with it. The worst. She's just kidding. Well, let me talk to you about.
She literally just said, in this climate that we are in, now this was before this mass shooting occurred in Nashville, she is advocating for murder, and she was not smiling when they tried to give her an out. Joy did, and she didn't take it. I want to get you guys' thoughts on that. I'll start with you, Whitley.
I mean, I think it's deplorable, and that too is a hate crime. And if anyone else would have said it, if there would have been a Republican or a conservative who advocated for murdering people who thought differently than them, it would be splashed everywhere, all over the news. It would be condemned. They would have lost their job. They wouldn't have been able to have any type of a following. Influence would have been limited. They would have been deplatformed, and they would have received so much hate mail. But because it's coming from the left, then it's tolerated. Crimes against Christians, crimes against Christian ideologies is a problem in this country and has been for a long time. As we are moving more and more towards the left, more and more progressive, less God, lawlessness, we've replaced religion with pronouns and trans and LGBTQ plus ideology. And so now it becomes normal to joke about killing Christians. And let's put this in context, right? If that joke were made about another group of people, an ethnic group of people, for their religious preferences, she would have been canceled immediately. The show probably would have been canceled immediately.
Now, sticking with our counterview segment, we have Sunny Holston being all Sunny Holston about Hamas hostages. Take a look.
It's hard.
You're cute and submissive.
It's hard. I am a man repellent. It's hard because all I do is go to gay events and drag shows and
anything to make a buck, save a buck. Anything to make a buck.
It's hard.
So this here is Sunny Holston, and she is talking about one of the hostages that was recently released this week.
And I think what's really important is what happens after this pause, because a ceasefire apparently is a bad word now. So what happens after this humanitarian pause? Who is in charge? Who isn't in charge? Are we going to continue seeing this devastation in Gaza? Are we going to continue seeing these 3 Palestinian kids going, college kids, one who knows my son's friend, okay? When is that going to stop? When are we going to really meet at the table and understand that all lives in this situation are being affected, and we must have a 2-state solution?
But can I say one thing?
Just to give you guys some background, she is, they had on at that same episode, they had on the family members of one of the hostages that were brought home this week. 9-year-old Emily Hand survived nearly 2 months in Hamas's grip by running house to house with her captors to escape bombings. She was one of the hostages that was freed this week, and her relatives were on the show just talking about her time in captivity. And so, as you guys can see, Sunny Holston is basically trying to provide some equivalence between the hostages that were taken on October 7th with the Palestinian prisoners that were released and have been held by Israel. I want to start with you, Shelley. What are your thoughts on that, on her commentary on that?
Sunny's full of it.
Yes.
Sonny's full of it. First of all, there is no equivalency. When you take hostages, that's not taking prisoners of war, because there was no war for the prisoners to be taken. Number two, the children who were ripped literally from their mothers, their homes in the whatever time period, taken and buried in tunnels, having to dodge bullets and bombs because their captors slaughtered their community, their family members. There's no equivalency. So Sunny, again, she's talking about with her fake accent in Gaza. Gaza. She's so. There's no equivalency. Is any child in any war situation being slaughtered, or I would say killed, whatever? Of course, it's horrific. But when your captors are the ones who initiated the slaughter, how in the hell can you even say that there's equivalency? The same captors of this little girl and the other people who have been released are the same ones who took them and who slaughtered their families, and they're still hiding them out. They're the same ones who use these people for shields. What is she talking about? They are phony. Sunny Hostin and those women on The View, I think Anna was challenging her a little bit, but Sunny Hostin is full of crap. She's full of it. She's so phony. She's so wanting to be, my neutral zone, and everyone is okay, and everyone is the same. No, they're not. Terrorists are not the same as human beings. I don't even classify them as humans. They're not. And what they did to those innocent Israelis is beyond description. Okay? Sunny, you are full of it.
Yeah, I want.
Wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
Yeah, so I want to get your thoughts on this, T. Again, as you guys saw, Sunny says, we're talking about this 9-year-old that was just brought out of captivity. And then she starts off with this all lives matter, talking about the Palestinian prisoners. What are your thoughts?
I mean, y'all know, I've said this before. Personally, when it comes to journalism, I want to see all sides. Mm-hmm. Yes, thanks for the tree in the background, producer. I want to hear and see all sides, because I want to get the full story so that I can interpret or translate what I think happens or goes on. So in this case, I actually agree with her, because I want to see the perspectives of everyone. Not just who they tell us who they want, the perspective of who they want us to be.
What perspective
from the Palestinians and the Israelites.
So what do you agree with her about, though? That's what I don't understand.
Seeing the full perspective of both perspectives of the hostages, and y'all are calling them terrorists, but not all of them are terrorists. Just that.
What is your definition of a terrorist? I'm talking about the group Hamas.
Let God
Hamas.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But there's still the Palestinians that aren't the terrorists.
I'm talking about the Hamas people. Not even people, I should say, but Hamas, Hezbollah, ISIS, not Al Jazeera, Al Qaeda. Those are all terrorist groups.
That.
So what part is it that you need more clarity on?
What happened with the Palestinians? What is happening with the Palestinians? The fact that they're still in the conditions that they are in, and okay, yeah, we have hostages from Israel, but still, like, give me the full story.
I don't just give me what you're talking about.
Why do we continuously make it Israel's responsibility as to what happens with the Gazans? We provided food for you. We provided water for you. Now we're not. You attacked us. So now we're not. Like, and
it's not the first time.
Yeah, exactly. And I hear a lot of people say, oh, but what about the Palestinians? And what about, let God sort out the ones who are not terrorists and the ones who are. And that's just how I feel. I don't believe with Sonny Holston that there's a two-state solution at all. I'm not going to require...
Two-state solutions have been tried forever and a day.
And I'm not going to require Israel, in my own opinion, to live next to people who want to kill them. And I don't feel like they should have to keep taking care of them. I really think that we need to go ahead and just get rid of the Gaza Strip. I made that known. But you know what was funny? Speaking of Gaza Strip, watching that Sonny Holston tiptoe through that landmine, because you know who writing her checks. You know them Jews is writing them checks. And so she could not say what she really wanted to say. So black folks, y'all not disappointed that Sister Soldier ain't out there fighting on the front line for you?
Right.
She chose her pocket. And that's what all them black liberals do.
Wait. First of all, let's go back.
She tiptoed.
We went through. I think we're making this too complicated.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She literally said that she's comparing people who, like us, you're sitting in your home.
Right.
Kids, babies, infants, children got kidnapped, got murdered, got slaughtered. She's comparing these hostages,
right,
and she's saying that they have the same moral equivalence to Palestinian prisoners held by Israelis because they were terrorists, because they have attempted murder, things like that. I don't understand how you are trying. What is the equivalence there? She's saying, but what about them? How are they
humans?
I don't give a damn. Really, if somebody, let me read what this says.
She's gonna break out the scriptures on us.
No, I hear what Tia say, but T has remained consistent. She's said this from that.
Let's see how consistent you are if something like this happened to you. If we would,
I'm gonna go.
Israel is the same size as New Jersey. This is like having a situation where was New York City terrorists from New York City went to New Jersey early in the morning and just started killing people while they slept, taking babies. Did you hear the same girl that they were talking about, Sonny's reckless comments, the same girl that was taken, the girl is going through so much trauma right now. She won't even speak hardly. She has to speak in very low tones because of the time she was with these nutbags in the Gaza.
Pieces of shit.
Not only that, they talk about another one. And just today, news came out that the 4-year-old brother, known as the Reds, it was a family. It was a 4-year-old brother killed along with the mom.
Yep.
These were the ones, according to the New York Post, the youngest Israeli hostage held by Hamas, 4-year-old brother and their mom, along with the patriarch, Yarden, were abducted from their home in the kibbutz, and on Tuesday, Israeli officials announced that Hamas had handed the family over to another Palestinian action. So they're not even
releasing them.
Yeah, and I saw something that said the
They had
American hostages are not being released.
They released some, I think, a half Russian hostage. But they had, like you said, infants, literal infants, not even 1 year old, 2 year old children taken from their homes. There is no equivalence.
It's no equivalent. Did you see the faces of the Israeli prisoners that were released? So, none of this was happening to them. No. And they were doing stuff wrong and they were in jail. They just released. They look healthy. They look strong. You see these hostages coming back from Gaza, old ladies on their deathbed. You got now they talking about they traded out this family
for the prisoners that are trying to
another faction.
Israel.
You got an infant. Well, how are you comparing this? How is it even equivalent?
Y'all have chosen a side, right? And my thing is, to go back to your example for the New York and New Jersey, then somebody comes in from New Jersey. It doesn't matter who it was. If somebody comes to my house and try to get my children, kill my children, I don't care if it was the Israelis, the terrorists, I don't care who it is. Somebody's getting their blood, their
So
hands
then
turned.
why?
So my thing is, I don't care. Like, I want the full picture.
What is the full picture?
That's what I'm saying. I don't need the full picture. What do you think?
I don't know what the full picture is.
No. It's not even about the house. I think I'm thinking from a more like umbrella conversation or situation.
What, that all children are God's children, we all part of the rainbow.
You said, let God do it, then let God handle the situation then.
Well,
he's not here right now to handle it.
No,
so.
I believe in choosing a side, and I'm always on the side of my allies, and unfortunately for Palestinians, Jews share my Judeo-Christian values, and they are the only eyes in the Middle East that the U.S. has, and I'm an American. So I have chosen a side just based on that factor. Now, I understand what people like the idea of saying, oh, well, what about the other people that Israel had killed? But I don't like that, because if I kill you because you killed my child, and then you say, oh, well, that person you killed is a person. No, there is a certain thing called retaliation. And we have to be brave enough to say, I got exactly what I brought.
What's interesting is that this moral argument, this moral responsibility is placed on Israel, right? But it's interesting, they place these moral responsibilities on Israel, but yet they don't want to claim that Israel is a moral nation. So that's like, they play this trick. Well, if Israel is so moral, then they're not intentionally trying to kill you and wipe you off the face of the earth. You want to give them that responsibility to be moral, but yet you say that they're out to kill you. No, they're not. It doesn't work both ways. That's a little sleight of hand that the media does. Israel is a moral nation. Does that mean that Israel is perfect in their government?
Nobody's perfect.
That's not what we're saying. But they're not intentionally going into Gaza or the West Bank or any other country, stealing, slaughtering women, men, children. They're not doing that. You're not going to find tunnels with hostages of children and disemboweled women being raped in Israel. You're not going to find that. If you do, please let us know.
And
like T said, she can have the whole picture.
But they would have every right.
I would like to know.
What would Jesus do?
So what?
Why would
Jesus do?
What would Jesus
put a millstone around their neck and drop them in the sea?
Jesus would do that?
Yes,
and
he
I
would.
think that's the misconception, especially with a lot of y'all Christians. I'm getting ready to come for y'all.
We just talked about that.
When y'all clearly we haven't read the Torah, but in the Torah,
now you want to bring up the Torah as a Christian.
Oh, I will. God instructed them
right now.
when they went into battle to kill every person.
That's God. That's not
the
Jesus.
Camp, okay? It don't matter.
Okay,
and he even called out women, and he called out children. That is biblical. So if you are an enemy, unfortunately, I feel like we are sitting up here acting like Israel has some kind of responsibility to these people.
But wait a minute, they have been responsible towards them.
And that would have left.
No, I'm saying that's what they have been doing. So they want to ignore all of the gestures, the responsibility, the morality that they have been, given to the Palestinians and whomever else. But now all of a sudden they're not. They're the ones killing. No, it's twisted. It's evil. Hamas and all of these terrorists need to be wiped off the face of the earth.
I agree. Have it on video. When I'm talking about this redhead family, they had it on video where the terrorists
Yeah.
came and got them.
Yeah.
Now they have traded that family off to God knows who. And now they're trying to lie and say that Israel bombed, one of the Israeli bombs killed the family.
And it should have.
This is the hostage.
I know.
It doesn't even make sense. Not only that, but I mean, they're putting out wrong information. One of the hostages that came home was talking about how while they were in captivity, harsh, terrible conditions, but Hamas and the Palestinians are putting out letters saying that the hostages wrote these letters. Oh, my captor was so wonderful, and
That's called the Stockholm
This doesn't even
syndrome,
make
basically.
sense. It's
why
terrible.
hasn't Israel retaliated?
They have been. Right now, they're in this pause, or like Sunny Hawson said, this pause.
And
Pause.
Yeah,
She wants to take the pause to a total stop.
Right. They want a ceasefire. They
No.
want a total ceasefire.
No.
And that's what, so they right now, while they are quote unquote exchanging hostages for prisoners that Israel has rightfully in prison, because these people were also trying to kill Israelis. So
there would be condos on the Gaza Strip. It would be some condos on that bad boy. Israel, y'all doing too much. It would be over.
But let me say this too, because one thing, then we have to move on. You know, we've talked about this on the show previously, how we're seeing here in America on campuses, you know, people are doing all this anti-Semitism, and even what I would call self-hating Jews across America, across the world, you know, are coming out against, you know, for the Palestinians. And to me, it's a really sharp wake up call for a lot of these, you know, Jews in general who vote Democrat, because we're seeing that the alignment is with the far left, the Marxists. They're all for the Hamas. They're all for Palestinians and things like that. So my question is, and then you have this newer generation of Jewish people, of leftist Jews, that are also on the side of the Palestinians, of Hamas. And I think that is a real
a wake-up call for us.
Not just a wake-up call, but it's a lack of you all continuing the tradition within the Jewish community. Mm-hmm. You have dropped the ball on many of your traditions. So instead of you passing along with the significance of your family, your heritage, your prophetic heritage, you have chosen not to do that. You've chosen to be secular, and now you've raised a whole generation of Jewish people who hate Jews.
Well, that's and
welcome to America.
We did the same thing too.
What we have
with black people,
right? We have.
But because I don't understand why black people are even supporting Palestinians. They don't like you
because they
literally. It's so stupid because like every bodega in the hood, like every store, all these is owned by people that's from overseas, and they talk to you like crap. They treat you like crap. They don't like you, and you sitting up here talking about free Palestine. And you've never even been there?
No, but I mean, again, we have to really
start. You can't even find the Gaza Strip.
Right. We have to really start, you know, people, as far as tradition, as far as raising up, you mentioned a couple episodes ago, raising up your child.
Yes.
You know, these Jewish people have a long history, you know, not only of the ethnic Jew, but of, you know, your religion. And you're not passing it along to these younger generations, and then they hate themselves.
That's what happens when they come to America, because these generations, their children become Americanized, and then they forget their culture, or they reject their culture because they want to be Americans.
Right. And it's not even about being Americans. They have rejected their religion.
I know,
their history.
They have rejected their religion.
Plenty of this first generation Americans who are from Afghanistan, from Jamaica, from all these places that reject their culture because they want to be Americans.
And not only that, I mean, but interestingly enough, Americans we have not been doing a good job of that either. So they want to be Americans, but they want to be what America is today. We're still not passing on the legacy. I think conservatives are just starting to wake up and realize that we need to get back to the traditions, the foundations of our country, because we haven't done a good job of that either. Nevertheless, Hamas, Hezbollah, I hope you get blown off the face of the earth into little small confetti pieces.
But going to KJ's point, I mean, like I did hear, I've never been to Israel, but I heard them pride flags be flying real high.
Well, not only that, but you find here. I mean, again, we have seen that these Marxist, socialist, leftist groups have all aligned, or mostly aligned, behind Palestine. Now you have Orthodox Jews who are, standing firm. Right. Mm-hmm. And that's why, why? Because they continue to pass on the tradition, the not only ethnic tradition of Judaism, but the religious tradition. And we know that religion does push back against this leftist Marxist agenda. But you have a good amount of Jews within the United States that have decided to forego their religion. Yeah. They are not passing it on to their young children. They are not passing it on to the next generation. And you're paying for it. Yeah. You're paying for it. And so, send your kids to Hebrew school, get them around, other Jews and telling them the tradition and things like that, because then maybe they won't hate themselves, and that's just my 2 cents, please correct me. If I'm wrong, but I've just seen that, and I know we haven't really said it. But.
Well, Charlie Kirk tried to say the exact same thing, and they called him anti-Semitic. So.
Oh, well, I don't know. I'm not trying to be anti-Semitic.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to correct yourself for correcting.
Right. But anyway.
Now that's what I'm talking about. Moving right along. Have you ever heard of Black Lives Matter? I'm sure you have. So let me ask you this. If Black Lives Matter, do Jewish lives matter?
I want to get you guys' thoughts on that. I'll start with you, Shelley. The article is entitled "Why No Jewish Lives Matter Movement." Why haven't we seen people unite behind the Jewish community as we saw them unite behind American Blacks?
2 things. I read the article and I said 2 things. One, I'm going to say I disagree, not that I think the article is wrong. I disagree and I agree. I agree in that there's no mass movement like we see, like with BLM and Antifa in the streets, rioting, destroying people's lives and communities. We don't see that. But where I agree that there is a Jewish movement over the last week or so, we have been seeing, thankfully, I'm going to say, we've been seeing donors to these elite colleges pulling their money and donations back, from Harvard to Columbia to Penn University or UPenn and other Stanford. We've seen the money being pulled, and I am so glad these donors. Why am I glad? Because first of all, they have, I hope that they are waking up to how they have been contributing and paying for these students to be fully indoctrinated with nothing but hate, anti-Semitic hate, anti-American hate. I'm glad that they're pulling their money. So I think that is the movement. I always say follow the money. That's the movement. The money is moving and they're taking it away from these colleges and universities that really don't give a damn about America, no less the Jews.
Yeah. I want to get your thoughts on this, Crystal. I mean, why no Jewish Lives Matter movement?
Well, what the left would say is that the same thing they said with the whole white lives matter. It's like, well, you already know that, Jewish lives matter, so there's no reason to say that. Well, what I would say, like Shelley said, I'm actually glad that the money is moving. But it's also this kind of, oh God, what do you call it? Like hateration. I'm just going to be ghetto and just hateration. No, the whole colonizer versus colonization. We love the victimization. Yes. Like we love, Jews have not done anything but be successful. Jews have not done anything but win. And we love to vote for the people that literally have contributed nothing. Nothing. The George Floyds of the world, have contributed nothing to the Black community at all. But you're going to sit here and root for people literally who got killed. They were killing babies. And there's some, questions about that. But 1,200 people got gunned down at a concert, and you're rooting for the people who did. And these are the people who's paying for these people's lights, water, gas. Why do we do that? It's literally so stupid. All the Jews have done was win. And honestly, without the Jews, Hamas probably would be way worse off than they already are, just like black folks and white folks. Without white folks, without the colonization of Britain, without the colonization of all these white people that y'all don't like, a lot of the things would not be happening. And it's ridiculous. And it needs to stop. Like, quit playing games.
I want to get your thoughts on this, Yana. I mean, we have not seen the outcry, the united movement behind the Israel, behind Jews across the world that we saw for cracked out George Floyd.
Period.
Well, I mean, he was killed, by the police officer.
He was killed by fentanyl. He was killed.
Two things can be right. He was still cracked out.
Right. Yeah.
He had a heart attack and he was killed by fentanyl.
Well, the people who are behind the Black Lives Matter, all these, leftist movements, they are Marxists.
Mm-hmm.
So the Marxists, as Crystal said, they want to support the oppressed because that's how they win. Right. They give more power to the masses, to the majority of the oppressed, and they hope that these masses will take over. And so they're fighting the colonizers. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what they keep repeating. Mm-hmm. And Israel, I mean, if you look at any of the leftist texts, if anything coming from Black Lives Matter, Israel is a colonizer. That's how they call it.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry.
Right. And so, like, as Crystal said, whoever wins, they're gonna go against those people.
Yeah. The narrative for them is to these victimizers or victimization people narrative. You always have to have an other. Right.
Yes.
And that other is always your oppressor. It's always their fault or the other's fault why you can't or won't do X.
Exactly.
So you have, instead of looking in that mirror that's standing right beside there, they don't do that. It's the other. And these others, quote unquote, whoever these boogeymen are, they are the ones who are causing you to falter and to not prosper. Whatever, no matter what. So you need that boogeyman to make your argument seem like you're the victim.
I know the Marxist mentality really well because I mean we had a Marxist revolution in Russia, and so for example, when I speak with a Marxist and I bring up, that the Marxists actually shot the entire royal family, including the children, and they would say, well, but the Tsar, he ordered suppression of the protests. Like, okay,
yeah,
but you just justified killing children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that is how the mentality is. So like when now you talk about what happened in Israel and how innocent people, including children, were killed, well, but they're going to say there was some suppression of rights and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So they will have these justifications over and over and they will not stop.
Yeah. And it's actually really sad. I heard a gentleman say this, and I can be corrected at any point in time. I don't know a single place that is better off without the colonizers that y'all say that y'all love. I mean, that y'all hate so much. I don't know a single city in Africa that has not been colonized that is not better off. And we need to really, I'm telling you, we have to attack this thing at the head because we are sitting here like the Marxist movement and pushing it, and we're not better off for it. We're not doing well for it. And it's this lie that kind of creeps in. And honestly, if we allow that to come over here, then black folks, y'all ain't seen the worst of it yet.
Well, we haven't seen the worst of it, but it is here. And another light of hope that I have with these Jewish donors, particularly pulling their money back from these elite schools. Again, I hope that conservatives, I'm not talking about the left is already loony. Yeah. I hope that conservatives are getting a glimpse of what it is and what it has been like on these college campuses, because we outside, we want to educate our children too. Yes. And we have been sort of, I'm going to say, maybe oblivious to what has been taught in these colleges for decades. So we've been sending our kids there, and then they come back home and we wonder like, well, who the hell are you? What kid are you? I didn't, So hopefully this movement, quote unquote, of these donors pulling their money back, I hope is giving conservatives a glimpse of what's going on too, and that we will direct our children and our money to colleges that do not support, and not just support, they sort of call and they stir up this stuff. The seeds are there.
And I do have to correct you a little bit. The one place that is was not colonized and is doing well is Wakanda, but Wakanda forever. Than that,
forever.
But no, seriously though. So when I look at the Gaza Strip, and this has been playing over and over in my mind, I compare it to Baltimore, and let me tell you why. Because we saw today, so we found out it has been proven that the bomb that went off was done by the Islamic Jihad. Right. So they bombed their own hospital. It was, I guess it was an accident, but it did happen.
It may not have been an accident, but okay.
So they bombed their own hospital. Now, prior to us finding that out, everyone thought that it was Jerusalem. I'm sorry, it was Israel.
Right.
As it should be.
Or they kept saying in the articles, they were like, oh, it's conflicting reports.
Right.
Like I was reading this morning, oh, they're passing the blame.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're pouting around this weird thing. Oh, well, the rules of war and the code, the honor codes are you're not supposed, like, yo, bro, like y'all wasn't thinking about no honor code when y'all was sitting up here shooting people at the thing.
Oh, so no, that's fine. So what I'm saying is, so when you look at before that we found out that it was them, that they bombed their own city, everyone was up in arms. They're actually still up in arms. We see protests all over the country, all over the world about this. Okay. But when we found out that it was not the IDF, it was not Israel, it was Hamas or Islamic Jihad, nobody said anything. Same thing happens here in Baltimore. So we are a city run by predominantly Black people, one party, the Democrats. And most of the crime is done by Black people, and the victims are Black people.
Exactly.
We get no protests because of these crimes. We have kids now. There's an uptick of kids dying in Baltimore City right now. We don't have any protests. We don't have any kicked up house. But soon as a white police officer or a police officer shoots an unarmed Black person, then you get the protest.
Exactly.
So if nobody is protesting the actual, what I can even call dictatorship here within Baltimore City, but they protest the outside people that come in and bomb. Same thing going on in the Gaza Strip.
And you're right. And what was interesting about that, just like when Israel was first attacked by Hamas a week ago or so, the immediate reaction was that Israel was wrong. Immediately, we had all of these asinine students come out on campus and protest anti-Israel and pro-Palestine, and they didn't even know the story. They just knew that Israel had been attacked, so it must have been Israel's fault. Same thing with that bomb that went off today. Immediately, all of these elites and Rashida Tlaib, she didn't give another statement, right? All these people, Israel is wrong and they are doing war crimes and things like that. But when the story was corrected, there's almost you can hear pin drop.
The same thing here in Baltimore.
These
it's the same thing.
These people, same thing. You're right. These people are frauds. I contend, part of my contention is that not only are they frauds and not only are they loony, I think part of it is it's on purpose. It's on purpose. They like to stir up the rioters and stir up the people with their oppression. And I think they want, again, this attack on America and certainly on Israel. They want the city.
Yeah, it's the same. Yeah. It's the same playbook.
Yeah.
It's the same playbook. What they do in the cities that are predominantly Black. What they're talking about, how they're treating the Gaza Strip and Hamas. It's the same playbook, and we have to really see it. And this is how we know that something's awry here.
The thing about Marxists is that they will sacrifice their own people.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Because it's not it's about the goal.
Exactly.
So whatever it means will justify their goal of overturning the society, changing it to this Marxist socialist society. And so if some people get killed, in Gaza, they don't care.
Well, same thing here. Same thing here.
We had the people who the terrorists who will die for their cause. They don't care. It's in Marxism. It's revolution after revolution after revolution. Right.
Well, same thing here.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
if you look at it that way, in Baltimore and Philadelphia and Chicago, the defund the police, which has been known to be hazardous to the neighborhoods, the cities, Black people that are in that reside in these areas. It's been hazardous, and they still push it. More Black people die. Not a protest. Nothing.
Yeah, and I'm gonna even bring it back to the January 6th. Defendants, and I'm gonna bring it back to a word that we talked about, like allies. Who are your people? And I don't care what you think about those Americans that felt like they had injustice was done to them. You will let them die in a ditch. You will let the worst things happen to them down in DC, put them in jail because they behaved badly. And and that's what I would say. I would say they behaved badly and they felt like they were done wrong. You will allow all these evil things done to them. They haven't blew up 1,200 people. They haven't paraglided in to shoot nobody, but you would defend those people over there and not care for your own people here, Americans.
Most of January 6th people were white, so the white people.
Oh yeah, white people don't count.
The Kool-Aid crew.
It's so disgusting because I'm telling you, like we're a family, whether we like it or not. Black people and white people, we are joined at the hip. We are family. We're Americans. And for us to be sitting here siding with people who don't give a damn about you, you don't want to go live there, or else you should. I encourage you. Go stay over there in the Gaza Strip.
What you just said, we are Americans. That is what has not been taught in most of these colleges and universities.
Yes.
Again, I am so glad that these donors are pulling their money back. Billions of dollars are being pulled back. I am glad, but because we have not been taught, or our children have not been taught that we are Americans, our country is not this racist, fully racist bastion. It's not. But so what do? You get a whole group of students across the board who hear this day in and day out. America is bad. America is racist. The white man is oppressing you. And what do you expect? Do you expect what you saw on 10/7 or 10/8 or all of these loony students coming out to protest and in protest in support of Palestinians attacking Israel?
And I say, get out. Go where you think it's so great. Seriously.
That's what you're doing up in here today, pandering for votes to all of these students up in here. You're sitting on your hand, literally, and then you're going to be disrespectful and walk off the stage. But you won our vote. Sir, we've been voting for 60 years, and we haven't gotten a damn thing from you, or Joe Biden, or Kamala Harris. We haven't gotten anything. Sir, what? But I hope you're not buying into that bullshit. I really hope you're not buying into it. Because that is disgusting and disrespectful. With that being said, I seriously hope that you guys don't go to the poll and vote for no more of these fuckers that sit in office and ain't doing a damn thing for us. But the illegals getting $7,000 in DHS. Did you know that? They getting $7,000 a month. Food stamps, vouchers, e-bikes, scooters. They taking jobs away from us. Y'all sitting in here in college paying all this high-ass tuition and probably won't even be able to get a damn job when you graduate. Because guess what else? They haven't told y'all. The certification attached to your degrees, you're going to need certification to go with those degrees. And if you haven't checked into that before you started school, when you go for a job, they're going to tell you that shit when it's over. So now I said my piece. I came to state my point and state my piece, and I've done that.
The people who get the worst part of this immigration, these illegal immigrant policies, are Black people. Moving on to New York now, talking about Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So again, she's back. She was heckled last Friday at a press conference in New York regarding the migrant crisis. We talked about this last week. New York City and several other cities across the country have been overrun by illegal immigrants. So the Democrats who spoke outside the Roosevelt Hotel in Manhattan, which has become a relief center for asylum seekers, this is ridiculous, were drowned out by shouting protesters chanting, "Send them back and close the border." So this is what this is who the Democrats are. Close the border, respect the Constitution, AOC. I am your constituent. A man was heard among the angry crowd shouting into a megaphone. So again, she goes on this rant, AOC, saying, I think that there are 3 points of consensus here that are very important. This is what I quote. And she goes on, she's blaming climate crisis for these illegal immigrants coming into New York City, into the U.S. She's saying basically that people have been displaced due to climate change. So,
everything is climate change now,
yeah,
right?
everything is climate change.
Yeah.
It's climate change,
Or
it's racism.
Or Republicans are fascists.
Right, yeah. It's climate change or it's racism. These are the two issues, or white supremacy.
Right.
So climate change, racism, white supremacy are some of the things that Democrats, these are the boogeyman responses that Democrats give to every incident, every issue. It's one of these three. It's one of these three. Yeah. Why do you think that? I know I'm getting off course a little bit.
Why do I think?
Why are they pushing climate change? Why are they open borders? Why do they want to not enforce the laws?
Yeah,
it all is chaos.
I was going to say, yeah, they want to stir up chaos, fear, and confusion. What does that mean? If you can keep people in the perpetual state of confusion and chaos, they're going to come to They can come to you because you're going to dole out the things that you think they need or they think they need from you. They will never take responsibility for their lives. Look, you talk about the Second Amendment, a well-armed militia. We talk about having freedom of speech and all our other God-given endowed rights that God gave us. A person or people who are capable of caring for themselves, and when we say caring for ourselves, we're not talking about just having no laws. That's not what we're saying. Right. We're saying standards, if you will, laws that help keep our society and community safe. But when you have people who can take care of themselves, their families, work, whatever it is they do, have their own business, don't rely on the government, they are called free people, thinkers, open-minded, whatever you want to call them. They're not responsible. They're not imbeciles. They're not dependent on the government response to taking care of them. Therefore, if you don't need the government to take care of you, then what? You're not beholden to them for anything.
Right. And not only that, but let's talk about what she said. So again, you have massive amounts of Americans who have come down to New York City and complain about how their city is being overrun by illegal immigrants. And you know what she says? She says the second is to allow for work authorization so that folks in here can get work and start supporting themselves as soon as possible. So they have, thousands of immigrants overrunning the city.
10,000
and she wants to give them work authorizations so they can take the jobs. Guess whose jobs they're going to be taking?
Yours.
Black and brown.
New Yorkers, I can't believe you either. Now, again, you voted for Governor Hochul and however you pronounce her name, and Mayor Adams. You voted for these people, AOC. Why? New Yorkers, you should know better. Come on. Look, you're a kick-ass type, take name, kick ass and take names, whatever. I don't understand it. But the work permits, you're right, KJ. They're going to take the jobs from New Yorkers. And guess who will still have her job? Governor Hochul, or whatever you pronounce, and AOC. They'll still have their jobs.
You're right.
But the immigrants will take all of yours, and you're still going to have to sponsor them and put them up in your hotels. Manhattan looks like a cesspool. Manhattan looks like the Seattle of the East, like Seattle was looking a few years ago when they had the streets blocked off and claimed these spaces or whatever. That's what Manhattan looks like.
Not
now.
only does it look, it
San
smells
Francisco.
like piss.
And San Francisco.
I drove through there this summer, I was coming from New Hampshire and coming back here to Maryland, and the whole city smells of piss. Yep. That's how bad it is. Let me tell you about this immigration. So immigration policy expert Roy Beck points out in his book, Back of the Hiring Line, the people who get the worst part of this immigration, these illegal immigrant policies, are black people. Black men's earnings actually rose faster than white men's from 1940 to 1970. During that same time period, the share of black Americans who were considered middle class exploded, growing from 22% to 71%, he says. But progress among black workers leveled off starting around 1970. Guess what happened in 1970? Immigration policies. So black workers started around 1970, 5 years after Congress passed laws that significantly increased rates of immigration from roughly 250,000 per year to 1 million annually. So this is what happens when these immigrants come in. Black people suffer with jobs, with education, all this stuff. They suffer.
Because they suffer because the jobs that the immigrants take are jobs that Americans, black people, and maybe other lower employed or lesser employable people can have these jobs, but they don't, because the immigrants will take them for even less. So they undercut the cost that it would take to pay for somebody to work these jobs. Therefore, Americans at the lower economic level will still remain on the government dole, on the government tit, and you and I will still pay for them. And we're still paying for the immigrants as well, because they suck up the social services. In New York, what we talked about last week, right? The social services that is costing the toll on New York to pay for these people, house these people, schools, healthcare, the lodging or wherever they had to stay. This is taking away services and resources from Americans who for whatever reason, are not getting these services, but they're definitely not going to get them now that the immigrants. And I'm sorry, they're not immigrants; they are illegal. Immigrants.
They're illegal immigrants. And again, these Democrats, they change the names. You know, they try to do these word games. So they change these names to migrants to make it sound better. But the feeling, you still get the same feeling or worse feeling. Right. 2006 paper published by the National Bureau of Economic Research estimates that the influx in immigration between 1980 and 2000 reduced the wage of black high school dropouts by 8.3%, reduced the employment rate by 7.4 percentage points, and increased the incarceration rate by 1.7 percentage points. Now, when you see these numbers and this word that Democrats like to throw out, disparities, this data is a lot of disparate data, but you do not hear them out here pushing back against it. No, they're bringing in more immigrants.
And so this goes back to, like we said, they use racism. If you say anything about this, you're racist. But wait a minute, these Democrats are contributing to the policies that they're saying are racist.
No, but remember what Sonny said, who you align yourself with. So, you know, at the top of the show, we're talking about Sonny from The View heckling and talking about Republicans and people who align ourselves with the Republican Party. Look at who you align yourself with for the Democrat Party. Right. They're taking away jobs. They're taking away education opportunities. The Congressional Black Caucus has endorsed amnesty year after year after year. They are all Democrats. And what is this doing? It's ruining the black and brown communities of legal Americans.
Like I said, I'm at the point now when you can call me racist and bigot. I kind of laugh at it because I will say, and I might even say, yeah, I am. I'm racist in favor of Americans having jobs, in favor of Americans being able to take care of themselves and their families and their communities. If that's what racism is, then here's your girl.
Yeah.
And finally, you guys, we rounded out with our first viral clip of the year, Shelly E. fact-checking and correcting The View. Check it out.
Comments in regards to conservatives and Christians on how they view trans people. Take a look here.
DeSantis and the LGBTQ.
Well, that's extremely upsetting. Yeah. That is extremely upsetting. These are human beings.
Yeah.
And I could cry. They're not harming anybody.
No.
I don't know why he's doing this. I don't know. I mean, you know, and I've said this before, and I'm going to get in trouble. But I have said this before, and it's been in print. I don't know what the difference between our Christian right and the Taliban is. I have no idea what the difference is.
You're not the only person who's said that.
I just don't know what the difference is. Yeah. What's happening in this country right now in the name of religion is so dangerous. Yeah. Yeah. And it's not this country. It's not America as far as... And you know, when I was growing up, I didn't know America was an experiment. They never said America was an experiment. When we were growing up, it was a democracy. And now it's in, you know, such danger. It's so upsetting.
Yeah.
It's so upsetting. And it's upsetting to hear the loudest voices and not any kind of pushback to the loudest voices that are the extremity in this country.
I need to respond to Miss Patty over there. Because when I saw that clip, I've been revved up all day. I want to explain to her dumb ass, okay, what the difference is between Christians and the Taliban, okay? Nowhere are Christians cutting people's heads off, holding children back, girls from schools, educating them for their religion or any other reason. As a matter of fact, if I recall correctly, just about 2 weeks ago, it was a trans person that slaughtered 6 Christians in their church or in their school. So who's killing who? Talking about Aretha Franklin? Who's zooming who? She's ignorant. And she's talking about she's never heard that America was an experiment. Let me tell you why people say that, dumb ass. And she's older than I am. They say it was an experiment because never in the history of time has a country been built on these foundations, on this foundation that we have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And in now 200 plus something years, we are a relatively young nation, okay? The third thing she's dumb about, America has never been a democracy. It has been a republic, and that's part of the big problem. People don't understand the difference. This is how dumb, like I said, they won't bring us on The View with the Clydesdale Whoopi and the dumb ass Patty. They won't bring us there. Okay, because we will correct them and school them on why they're so ignorant and dumb. But these people get the light. Taliban and Christians are starkly different. Okay, Christians are not extreme. She's extreme. And with those extreme ideas, this is why the left is trying to take down this experiment, this Republican experiment called America.
Once again, you guys, we are truly, truly appreciate you checking out our show and hanging out with us this year. We are looking forward to next year to make more wonderful, hilarious, and memory-making moments. We truly appreciate you. Thank you again. We have a quick message from our ladies. And to that, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll see you guys on the other side.
Hello, everyone. I'm KJ with Poppin' Politics. We are the ladies of Poppin' Politics, and we want to just say thank you so much for watching. Yes, thank you so much for watching us. We are at over 30,000 subscribers. Our goal is to reach 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So please help us to do that. But most of all, we want to thank you guys for rocking with us.
Yes.
Every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Thank you so much. We want to wish you a happy holiday, a very Merry Christmas.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas